So the new Power Rangers movie looks kinda bad, huh? I mean, just kinda dour and angsty, and look, Power Rangers was never precisely my thing, but what I know of it suggests it's always been kind of the opposite of that, yes? I don't know, it feels kind of like Hayam Saban set out to launch his own Avengers and wound up with something like his own Fant 4 stick. But mostly this thing looks like it's trying to ride the YA sci-fi misfit dystopian thing. I mean, watch the trailer and try not to think of Jumper, I Am Number 4, Maze Runner, Mortal Instruments, Divergent, and did no one tell them that that whole cycle turned out to have hugely diminishing box office presence and that all the movies have been pretty much terrible? Hell, by the fourth one, everybody even stopped pretending that Hunger Games was any good. I guess the idea must be to appeal to a new generation of potential fans, but isn't the show still on TV and still really popular with what would be the current generation as basically the same thing it's always been before? But whatever. The main thing that's always nominally interested me about the Power Rangers franchise is the odd and often awkward attempts to reconfigure cultural artifacts as uniquely grounded in its Japanese origins as the Super Sentai Tokusatsu shows into something like an American superhero series. The end result frequently emerging as a bizarre clash of dueling pop culture idiosyncrasies that's also very much on display in this week's Schlocktober presentation, The GUYVER. Okay, background. Bio Booster Armor GUYVER is a long-running Japanese manga and anime franchise created by Yoshiki Takaya in 1985, which takes the henshin transforming mecha superhero concept popular in Japanese children's television and makes everything more gooey. And while it never achieved the popularity in the West of some other anime fixtures of that era, it did find popularity among Western monster movie and horror fans for its creatures and abundant gore. So in 1991, legendary cult horror producer Brian Yuzna and Steve Wang teamed up with director and Japanese practical special effects legend Screaming Mad George to produce a live-action feature retrofitting the GUYVER's unique aesthetic and design sensibilities into the mold of an American superhero film.
Come on, show us fight!
We open with the scientist Dr. Sagawa attempting to smuggle a mysterious device away from his employers at the sinister Kronos Corporation and into the hands of a dogged CIA agent played by Mark Hamill, because Batman the Animated Series was still a year away, so this is what Mark Hamill was doing. Unfortunately, no longer young Skywalker is too late, and Sagawa is confronted by said corporation's oddly small army of hired thugs, whom he attempts to fend off by transforming into a fish monster. Yeah, it's one of these. Unfortunately, the bad guys can all do that same trick because everyone at Kronos is actually an alien called a Zoonoid, so the head thug, played by Michael Berryman, transforms into the much more powerful hench monster Lisker and murders him. But when Liska presents the missing prize to Kronos' evil CEO, the Zoolord, it turns out they've been had.
What is this? Some sort of masochistic...
The Zoonoids are dispatched to find the device, reasoning, as does Mark Hamill, that it will fall into the hands of Sagawa's largely unaware daughter Miski. Fortunately for her, Miski is an Asian woman in a sci-fi movie, which means the mayonnaise-bland white karate student she's dating is almost certainly a superhero, and she'll be just fine. Sure enough, boyfriend Sean soon locates the device the Zoonoids were seeking himself, and after running afoul of the world's least threatening street gang, finds himself transformed into the GUYVER.
You sick or something?
And yeah, this stuff is the reason to watch the movie. The GUYVER suit and really all the monster stuff just looks ridiculously cool. For the last 15 years or so, Screaming Mad George has mainly been known as the guy who makes the stage masks for Slipknot, but in the 80s and 90s he was one of the go-to guys for makeup and monster suits that needed an extra edge of punk rock weirdness for not a lot of money, creating memorable creature effects for Big Trouble in Little China, Predator, Nightmare on Elm Street 3 and 4, Society, Freaked, Tales from the Hood, and a bunch more. And whatever else may be lacking in the GUYVER, whenever the fighting starts, it's a hell of a showcase for what he can do. Speaking of which, the next big fight scene breaks out shortly thereafter when the Zoonoids manage to successfully abduct Mark Hamill and Miski, pausing briefly for the featured Zoonoid played by stunt cast Jimmy J.J. Walker to accidentally wander onto the set of a monster movie for a gratuitous Linnea Quigley cameo.
No. You're not afraid of her. She is afraid of you.
Which isn't as painful as when he raps a moment later.
I've been looking high, I've been looking low, for the guiding, jiving thing to show.
Yeah, but like I said, we're here to see monster wrestling scenes, and the GUYVER blocks off most of the end of Act 2 for a fucking great one.
Take 'em!
Which Sam loses when Liska rips the power source out of his head, killing him. Yeah, didn't expect that, did ya? Everyone disembarks back to Kronos so Zoalord can monologue some plot exposition.
In times past, they were known as werewolves, minotaurs, vampires. Can you imagine these lovely creatures in the White House?
Reanimators Jeffrey Combs can do a cameo.
Sir, Mr. Palkus, this is, this is genetics.
We'll probably see him again this year, and Mizki can steal the unit back. So Sean regenerates, we get another big monster battle.
Stay back!
The Zoanoids kill Mark Hamill by making him go all Gregor Samsa on everybody. And the Guyver faces off against Zoalord in his final giant monster form.
Holy shit!
Good stuff. Yeah, the Guyver is basically just Kamen Rider with a lot more monster gore and a lot less riding, but if you're in the right mood, it's breezy and a lot of fun. They did do a sequel to this, which we're all supposed to say is better because David Hayter was in it and it was supposedly closer to the manga, but that just ends up meaning that it no longer has a sense of humor and features significantly less interesting monster designs, so it's kind of a slog. The original was not a major success in the US, but did surprisingly well in parts of Europe, where it was retitled as Mutronics. In fact, the German Blu-ray release is the only way to get an uncut version, which I recommend. Alright, next week, more Halloween fun.